Number 1 is Elin. You arrive in Elin with no job, no house, and not much more than a pack to your name. And within an hour, you're running a bakery that sells fresh bread to tourists while a trained pet works the counter. Built as a successor to the well-acclaimed Ilona, Elin is a turn-based roguelike sandbox where every single action advances time, be it yours, your town's, your crops, or your shops. You can recruit townsfolk, build homes, fish, farm, steal, craft, or just stand in your base quietly, making sure your breeding and fodder plans won't collapse. And so the complexity is baked straight into the loop. Want to open a shop? You'll need an inventory, signage, floor space, a register, staff assignments, and the foot traffic to justify it. Then you step into a dungeon to find new ingredients and return to discover your clerks finished their shift and your shelves need restocking. Elin isn't really hard to play, but it is hard to keep up with. Turn by turn, your base continues ticking. Plants grow, ovens burn fuel, and the general store will run out of cucumbers. If you're playing with permadeath enabled, every dungeon run becomes a test of whether you'll return in one piece, because death ends that world. Travel itself becomes a problem to solve. You can lay paths, manage stables, use pack animals, or risk dangerous routes with better loot, but worse outcomes for your bones. Since early access began in November of 2024, the game's build includes tourism, town policies and taxes, instruments and performance, pet jobs and behavior, and agriculture with growth cycles. It is not uncommon to find yourself configuring rooms, access, and storage so residents use the right beds, do the right jobs, and keep hazardous workshops off limits, which also helps ensure nobody mistakes the potion shelf for the snack shelf. Elin is regarded as a brilliant, if slightly chaotic sandbox, and it has massive potential, so I'd recommend checking it out. Number 2, DSS2 War Industry. You will start this game by founding a city, which legally makes it your problem now. From there, it's a gentle slide into logistics-based governance, or turns into ingots, ingots into gear, and gear rides along automated routes you set up so that the front line doesn't give out beneath its own weight. It's a real-time grand strategy game where you build the economy and build the army and command the army. There are micro-controls when you want them, but your best unit is usually a functioning supply chain. You see, buildings want input, output, and forethought. Skip automation and your soldiers wait for boots that never arrive. Fortifications and guard posts shape your lines. Research and experience nudge tech forward, and modular units let you assemble soldiers from items and specializations. There are several officially sanctioned ways to suffer. Story mode adds bosses, sandbox removes them so you can industrialize in peace, peaceful waits for you to start wars, spectator and god mode lets the bots demonstrate better habits, and battle lab plus commander offer side experiments when you want a tidy, testable mess. The game supports up to 4 players for local co-op and versus, and online multiplayer is planned for summer of 2026. Under the hood, the scale here is comically large. The creation tools cover maps, flags, characters, and voxel models. And you will learn many valuable lessons, like that empires do not fall because they lose battles. They fall because someone forgot to restock the boots. Every time. Number 3, Total Extreme Wrestling 9. You don't run a wrestling company in this game, you're gonna be babysitting spreadsheets, so just accept that that's your life now. Developed by Adam Ryland and released in August 2024, Total Extreme Wrestling 9 is the latest entry in Grey Dog Software's long-running sim series, where you manage contracts, personalities, show structure, and petty grudges through a wall of menus. It ships with the fictional Cornellverse as its default world, but modders immediately upload real-world rosters so you can spend 6 hours rebuilding 2005 Ring of Honor and then go bankrupt in 2 weeks. The interface is pretty much exactly what you would expect. It's text, tables, and drop-down menus because you're not here to see power bombs. You're here to find out why a locker room full of made-up people is mad at you again. Some of the features include delegation, which is now where you can sign a booking team to write part of the card, which means your imaginary assistants can disappoint the crowd for you. An inner circle system gives you lieutenants who act as company advisors, mostly useful for pretending that you're not responsible for everything everything falling apart. The angle editor, which is used for non-wrestling segments like promos, interviews, betrayals, weddings, etc., was completely overhauled, so you can finally structure your awkward contract signings with the nuance that they deserve. There's now a real-world calendar with months and weekdays that actually make sense, and an in-game web browser shows headlines with other promotions across all 8 regions. Tour companies roam around the map like wild NPCs, booking shows of their own, just to make sure your rising star gets poached right before your big debut. It is not flashy, nor is it fast, but it's the only game where you can cancel a birthday show because your head booker rage quit over a promo about a forklift. Number 4, Eador Imperium. So this one drops you into a world that exploded into floating shards and then asks you to run one of them. Easy enough. Released in 2017 by Snowbird Games, it's a standalone entry in the Eador series that keeps the layered formula. A big picture strategy map where you expand, build cities, and collect taxes, plus a granular tactical layer where battles play out turn by turn on a hex grid. Every province is a decision tree. Fight the bandits, fix morale, raise taxes, build a mill, regret building the mill, and all of it revolves around a hero who gains experience, commands armies, and occasionally dies to a wild boar because you grew complacent and didn't equip the right armor. You pick from 4 protagonists, a wizard, a mercenary, a governor, and a barbarian priestess, each with a different campaign thread that steadily complicates your life. What sets Imperium apart from its predecessor, aside from excluding that game's campaign while including its other content, is the pile of new material. 5 new hero classes, new units, and unique shard worlds that change who you can recruit and what you'll face. There's no multiplayer here. It's single player with a level editor if you'd like to manufacture your own problems, that is. It's hard, it's fair, and it's decisively brilliant at teaching you that growth without stability is just another way to implode. Number 5, Quasimorph. You are handed a clone, a pistol, and a job offer that someone who thinks demons from another dimension is a line item in the budget. Developed by Magnum Scriptum and published by Hype Train Digital, it launched in early access on October 2nd, 2023, and calls itself a turn-based extraction RPG, which means you go in, shoot the twitching thing, and then loot what's left, and hope you make it back to the ship in one piece. If you die, then you lose everything except the satisfaction of knowing that your next clone gets to try it with even less gear. Set in a corporate-owned solar system, Quasimorph sends you on contracts across research stations, derelict facilities, and quarantine zones where an interdimensional disease called quasimorphosis is turning science experiments into demonic problems, and nobody seems especially surprised. Between runs, the game turns into a decisions buffet. You pick one of 6 classes and build around their perk trees. The wrong pairing means a great gun with a pilot who hates it. You manage your ship and kit your team for contracts on a global map where factions fight for influence across 5 planets. So every mission nudges reputations and unlocks or blocks future gear and jobs. Inside missions, combat is turn-based and ruthlessly bookkeeping heavy. Guns and armor have durability that ticks down with use. Almost every weapon consumes ammo and needs reloads, and your profit depends on extracting before your kit disintegrates or your pockets run dry. The loop is simple to describe and fussy to optimize. Class perks, gear wear, ammo planning, faction standing, and when to cash out all layer together, which is why your clone ledger looks a lot like a quarterly report written in blood. Number 6, DICEOMANCER. So you're a spellcaster whose greatest power isn't anything cool like fire, lightning, or summoning demons. No, it's editing numbers like a petty god of arithmetic. And developed by Ultra Piggy Studio, this first-person roguelike deck builder throws you into a crawl of monsters, randomized loot, and card-based combat. Each spell you cast, each relic you equip, and each trap you spring is governed by numbers, and when those numbers don't go your way, you don't have to accept it. You use spell special dice to change the outcome. Increase your d20 roll, lower enemy HP, boost your mana, rewrite the value of a relic's effect, or even reduce the cost of a card sitting in your hand. Reality bends because your dice say it do. The overall structure might feel familiar. There's 6 mana types, 6 class paths, a deck of 500 plus cards, and nearly 200 relics that passively stack bonuses or penalties. But the twist is how much control you have over the randomness. Need a relic to heal 12 instead of 4? Change the 4. Fighting an enemy that does 30 damage next turn? Well, use your dice to reduce their attack value to something survivable. Some dice have specific targets. One die might only modify relics, while another only adjusts enemy stats or modifies card costs. All of this is governed by a limited dice pool, meaning you have to choose whether to fix a problem now or hoard your power for a worse one later. And with 20 levels of Ascension difficulty, you'll eventually need every numerical advantage you can forge, fudge, or fake. Number 7, Solium Infernum. The throne of hell is empty, and you're going to fill it, ideally without anyone noticing until it's too late. Solium Infernum is a political grand strategy game with simultaneous turns. You queue a small set of orders each round, and they resolve in initiative passives. Most Archfiends begin with 2 order slots, and you expand that budget through powers, artifacts, or certain holdings, which means actions per turn is itself a resource you fight over. The bazaar is where you'll secretly bid on praetors, legions, artifacts, and manuscripts. Rituals handle masking intent, theft, disruption, and other quiet crimes. The politics aren't garnish. Insults and demands escalate to vendetta or a praetor duel, and yes, you can bribe the duel's arbiter if your charisma is up to the task. Hell rewards patience. Multiplayer runs asynchronously for 2 to 6 players, often at a couple of turns per day, so a match can unfold over weeks, giving you time to line up tribute, manipulate prestige, and place the kind of bizarre bids that reveal nothing and change everything. Under the hood, this is a reimagining of the 2009 cult classic, rebuilt with single-player modes and modern UI, but the soul remains very much the same, no pun intended. Read opponents, spend scarce orders well, and pick the exact moment to make etiquette your weapon. You will win when 5 other devils are convinced that they're the clever ones just before you steal their throne for the rest of eternity. Number 8, Shattered Pixel Dungeon. You awaken with no memory and just enough bread to starve slowly. Welcome to Shattered Pixel Dungeon, a traditional roguelike where the only thing more deadly than the monsters is your own inventory. Everything's turn-based, procedurally generated, and deeply invested in watching you drink an unidentified potion and immediately burst into flames. There are 6 very different playable characters that lead to 6 very different ways of potentially disappointing yourself. Every 5 floors is a new biome and ends in a boss fight, and several bosses will enter a dramatic "you thought I was dead" phase right when you stop paying attention. Items are unidentified by default and can be cursed, so though you equip them, they may not unequip quite so easily. The game's complexity is subtle, slow, and patient, like a trapdoor spider with a clipboard. Food is finite, and the game will absolutely let you starve to death inside a broom closet. Healing now routes through a water skin that stores dew for small, time-gated recovery and other uses, perfect for emergencies and bad decisions. Some bosses become temporarily invulnerable mid-fight until you solve the mechanic under pressure, and you'll juggle subclasses, artifacts, alchemy, stat boosts, and talent trees, plus equipment with the kind of quirks that make you question all of your life choices. And while it all feels kind of merciless, it isn't literally no takebacks. Angst can grant a limited extra life, and the game saves on exit so you can resume a run, but don't expect manual saves to bail you out mid-mistake. This is the dungeon, and it's not here to be your friend, but it will remember every dumb thing you do and bury you with a gravestone that says so.
Number 9, Approaching Infinity.
Okay, Star Cadets, approaching infinity lets you fly a starship, beam down teams, and make one decision per step, whether you're in orbit, inside a derelict vessel, or knee-deep in alien shrubberies. You pick from 10 spacefaring classes, recruit officers, and decide if you want classic permadeath or a softer adventure mode that preserves progress at the cost of bragging rights. But let's be real, we want the permadeath, don't we? The galaxy is a sandbox with rails when you want them. 14 factions have quest lines, 12 alien races drive long arcs, and there are 10 victory paths in total if you'd rather win than wander. In between, you mine, trade, craft, smuggle, negotiate, or just tow the ship you accidentally ventilated in for salvage fees. What makes it complex isn't a single trick, but the whole bloody pile of them. Resources frame every plan. Run out of ship fuel or away team oxygen, and your bold expedition becomes a simple autopsy. The simulation shows up where it stings. Fire spreads faster in high oxygen atmospheres, breaches cause decompression that drags everything towards the hull, and stepping in water will actually put you out if you're on fire. Meanwhile, the strategic layer keeps score with faction reputation and quest outcomes that open one door while closing another. But you do have the occasional small mercy baked in, such as the Trek-style red shirt that can eat a lethal hit meant for someone important, buying you one more turn to pretend this was all part of the plan. It's all turn-based here, but what victory is truly based in is your own best judgment. Number 10, Cosmoteer, Starship Architect and Commander. So you're handed a box of parts and told to go build a ship that definitely won't explode, and that's exactly what you're gonna go do. You see, it's a modular starship design sim with real-time tactical combat, where every tile you place becomes someone's workplace, a power conduit, or critical failure point. You design everything from reactor layout to hallway traffic, and then deploy your floating puzzle box into a procedurally generated galaxy full of pirates and AI ships that would like to test your hull integrity with high explosives. Your crew are tiny little overworked people who literally run power cells and ammo between rooms to keep your systems online. If your cannon stops firing, that's probably because someone took the long way around. There's co-op, PvP, and a creative mode for stress-free shipbuilding, and Steam Workshop support if you'd rather fly a space-capable toaster someone else uploaded. The real challenge here isn't the enemies, it's your own floor plan. Reactors produce power as physical batteries, ammo must be manufactured on board, and both are only useful once hand-delivered to the right rooms. That means corridor layouts, door placement, and crew roles all directly control how fast your guns fire and how long your shields stay up. Build a pretty ship with winding hallways and stylish symmetry, and you'll have a beautiful corpse. Build a functional square full of capacitors and double doors, and you might survive long enough to get paid. Every part of your ship can be targeted in combat, so you'll learn quickly what happens when the laser accidentally threads the needle and hits your reactor. Victory is less about firepower and much more about designing a ship that can move power, people, and panic efficiently across decks you thought were a good idea at the time.